One of the creepiest stories in Greek mythology, Clytemnestra and Agamemnon. Ancient mythology is full of stories that make your blood run cold in your veins and your hair stand on end, but the story of Agamemnon and Clytemnestra stands out even among them. It is truly a thriller, in which there is no positive hero, but each character has its own logic of actions. It hardly justifies them, but it still makes it possible to understand why they did what they did. It is not surprising that writers and artists repeatedly turned to this plot and its images. The name of Agamemnon is known to everyone who is familiar with Homer's Iliad. After all, it was this king who organized the united forces of the Greeks in their campaign against Troy. Clytemnestra was Agamemnon's wife, and they had a daughter, Iphigenia. So what did the Pope do to propitiate the goddess Artemis, who could influence the weather? After all, it was important to have a calm sea so that the Greek ships could reach Troy without problems. He sacrificed his daughter to the goddess, that is, simply put, killed her. Clytemnestra, horrified by her husband's decision, tried in every way to prevent him, but the king was firm. His will is the law, period. So the girl died, and the ships crossed the sea in peace. Well, the long history of the siege of Troy I will not retell here, it is known to everyone. I will only remind you that King Priam had a daughter Cassandra, to whom Apollo took revenge for her coldness, punishing her with the gift of foresight, but only of bad events, and no one believed her. The unfortunate one became the prey of Agamemnon, and he brought the concubine home. Since the Trojan War lasted 10 years, and Clytemnestra was by no means Penelope, she had a lover. He became a cousin of the king named Aegis. Couple united not only hot nights, but also hatred of Agamemnon. Actually, they hoped that he would perish there, in Troy, but the king returned. And even with Cassandra, who managed to give birth to his children. Can you imagine the state of Clytemnestra at the sight of such a phenomenon? Her daughter, Iphigenia, dead. And for what? Aegisthus was also seething with hatred, but for a different reason. He dreamed of being king. And now he's such a bummer. He'd shown up. So a plan was devised. Agamemnon was killed. Different versions of the myth differ in details, whether he was taking a bath, whether he was asleep, whether Clytemnestra struck a fatal blow, whether Aegis, but Agamemnon was killed. Then, Clytemnestra killed Cassandra and her children, though of course they had nothing to do at all, victims. But, by the way, the happiness of the murderers their crime did not bring. Agamemnon and Clytemnestra had children besides Iphigenia, son Orestes, and daughter Electra. So, Orestes, arriving from distant lands and learning of his father's death, killed his own mother along with her lover. At the same time, Electra fell in love with him, and in short, there is also incest in this wild story.